Howdy, Possum Patty here, and for the last 2 days I have been experimenting. Come on along. Okay, this was my experiment. I had been watching some people do eco-dyeing, and that involved dissolving alum in water, adding some kind of ferrous oxide or rust, and layering it and putting rocks or tiles on it and boiling it for an hour or whatever, letting it soak overnight, rinsing it, taking it out. Well, anyway, my idea, I was wondering if I could take a container and layer the paper with the plant material, pour in the boiling water, put something heavy on top, and put it out on the blacktop driveway in the sun and let it sit there all day long and see if that would work. That was my experiment. So first I went outside and I went around the yard and I picked some flowers and some vegetation, and I had a nice plastic pan and I layered the paper. Now the paper I used was 140 pound, that's the cat. I thought I left it here to show you. I don't see it. 140 pound cold press watercolor paper. And then I took the alum that I dissolved in water. I put about a quarter cup in, I think it was a 2-quart container. And I poured that on. That was boiling water. And then I put some rust. I went outside and actually scraped rust off an old iron grate into a cup, poured boiling water in that, and then poured that in there. And I put a rock on top and I sat it out in the driveway overnight. Well, all day, and nothing had happened. I checked it the next day, and I only checked the top couple of layers, and I should have checked further down in the pan because I think things were happening down further in the pan. Just the materials I had at the top weren't working. So I left it out again, and then it was raining today, so I decided just to go out and drain it and see what had happened. So the flowers, all the flowers that I put in, the colors from the flower petals came off and left color on the paper. But none of the green plant material except the nasturtium leaves left, the green chlorophyll on the paper. Well, I brought them in and I cut the pages up into smaller pieces, and I made little bundles, and I left the plant material in there, and I added some more marigold leaves in there and some more nasturtium leaves in there because they seem to leave the most color. Tied it between 2 pieces of ceramic tile. I put it in the microwave for 3 minutes, and then I took them out and I rinsed them off, and I put them back in the microwave for 30 seconds to dry them a little bit. So I'm very happy with what the flowers did to the paper, and I didn't get a lot of green, and I only got little spots of color where the flowers were. So let me show you how my experiment came out, and then I will probably want to journal about this on a page in my journal so I can remember to do this again. Well, first I took all the little squares that I had cut, and you could see the nice yellow in there, and I die cut everything. I just went ahead and die cut everything because I only had little pieces of color. So I said, let me just go ahead and die cut it and see how the die cuts come out. So here are my die cuts. My favorite are the mason jars, and I will show you last because that's my favorite. I took some of the areas that had just a little bit of color and die cut some butterflies and bees and flowers, although these two are darker in color because I want to see how they would come out. And this had a little bit of color on it. So those are the smaller die cuts for the little blotches of color. And then put those over there. I start with the smaller ones. These are like inchies. And everywhere there was like a little petal that left color. I cut out one of these little inchies. So it's very delicate and just has these little blotches of color. So these are all natural colors, the reds, the blues, the yellows, the greens. Oh, and I used berries. I used beauty berries. And where I squashed the berries, they did leave some color. That was nice. A little bit of green on that one. And then I got a little bit bigger for a little bit bigger blotches. Okay, these look a little bit more like eco-dyeing. Just really flower petals. There's a nice green spot. It wasn't very big. But this one, look how pretty this one is. You can see the petal. The black lines are the veins in the petal. And this is where the petal attaches to the plant. And then the color on the petal there. So that one is really nice. And then I have some that are a little bit bigger. Bigger blotches of color. The marigolds are beautiful yellow. And I think the red were the nasturtiums. I mean the red petals. And the yellow and the red. So these were the bigger blotches of color. And then I did a bunch of tags. There's a pretty color right there. You can see that this was a petal. So these are the nasturtium's petal, and it's very interesting that the tip of the petal comes out with the color of the petal, but the bottom of the petal, like I said, that's attached to the flower, comes out a different color. Look at this one. Very cool. This one's got a couple of pink, purple, yellow on there. This one's pretty subtle. This one's got a lot of color. I like the color in this one. These are the berries because you can see the little round spots in there where I smashed them on. And then the yellow is a marigold. I used alum, so these should be preserved. I love this here. And this, oh, this is a nasturtium leaf. You can see the veins of the leaf on this one. I thought I poked out all those holes. I guess I didn't. And here's another nasturtium leaf. They're round. And then I have some flower petals there. They were kind of layered up. And this is the rust that I put on there. Flower petals. You can see the little imprint of the marigold there. So those are the tags. And then I took all my favorite blotches. I can't sit down now because the cat's behind me. And put them in these mason jars. I just love how they came out. So this was a red nasturtium. And there was only one out there when I went out there to pick the flowers. And it came out purple. But that has a lot of color. And these were berries. Beauty berries and marigolds. So it's yellow and pink. Don't ask me what I'm going to do with so many mason jars. Well, you can decorate them for any season, right? And I don't remember what this was, but it turned brown, but there's some of that bluish green there. Oh, so that had to be another nasturtium flower. And here's more nasturtiums. Oh, maybe this was the orange one. But it's just interesting how the tip of the petal is one color and then the petal is a different color. These are all marigolds. I can almost see them on the paper. marigolds. And here's another nasturtium. And I don't know what this was. Oh, this is probably a nasturtium leaf and some berries. And nasturtiums. And this one's really pretty. That's a nasturtium leaf, petal, flower petal there. Some berries up here at the top. More nasturtium. This was the red nasturtium, and a little bit of marigold there. Isn't that pretty? That one's gorgeous, I know. Look at this one, it's got yellow. And where the marigold was touching the blue part, the part of the nasturtium flower that made blue, it turned it sort of greenish. Almost like a tie-dye. You see a little pink in there, a little green, a little blue, some yellow. It's really pretty. This one is marigolds and berries in there, beauty berries, and a nasturtium petal there. So that's how they came out. And I wanted to get this into my journal. I'll probably put it in my nature journal. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a couple of these to put in there as samples, and I'm going to write down what I did and what I might do next time. And we're supposed to get a frost pretty soon, so if I'm going to try this again, I might have to do it sooner than later. Oh, the back of these came out. Some of the back of these are pretty too. Just a couple of them. Some of the papers that had colors on both sides, I tried to make into a tag instead of a mason jar, so that you can use both sides. All right, so let me go get my journal and come up with just a simple page, just do a little journaling. This is my little golden book, Wonders of Nature, which is getting quite chunky and very heavy for some reason. And I do have the first signature all finished. Yay! And the middle is the story. So then we skip over to the second signature, which I have been working on. I was almost thinking of putting the notes about the eco dye in this page, but then I decided to skip ahead. Some of these pages are done to here, and I put this dark green paper in the background. I just cut a piece of this and put it here because I think the dyes that have lighter colors will show up nicer on here. So I wrote down October 1st, Eco Dye Experiment, 1/4 to 1/2 cup of alum in boiling water into a 2-quart container, rust for iron oxide in boiling water, layer plant material between sheets of 140-pound cold-pressed watercolor paper, pour solutions over each layer, weigh down with rock, set in sun, leave overnight. Flowers worked better than leaves. So I just want to put that on there, and you can see how nice those colors look behind the journaling. I know it's not bright, but it makes a perfect background for text. And then I want to put in one of my mason jars. And then I was thinking of just putting in a couple of flowers. And maybe, I don't know what, maybe my butterfly? Something like that. And just kind of a simple page. I just want to write this down and note it before I forget it. This is very heavy because I have this metal in here. And this is my magnet plate at the back. And I got these at the flea market. So I can switch to butterflies or dragonflies. Well, I'm going to switch to the dragonfly because I haven't seen the hummingbird around for a few days. They might have migrated. But the dragonflies are still buzzing around here. So let's put a dragonfly there. The monarchs are migrating. The hummingbirds are migrating. Okay, back to what I was doing, which was there. I have too much stuff on the desk. Maybe tomorrow I'll clean. Maybe not, maybe not. I need to take everything off the table, wipe it down, organize, and the shelf that's on the window ledge over there, and clean that too. Where's my... oh, this is interesting. The book I use for gluing. I don't know where it is. Oh, there it is. Down on the floor, of course, of course. Okay, let's see. This is going to go on first, I think. And then... which way do I want it to go? I might go this way. So actually I'm going to put this on. I think if I put in some dye to dye the paper while I'm pressing the flowers, I wonder how that'll come out. Ooh, new experiment. New experiment. Some paper dye. What can I use for paper dye? I could use Easter egg dye. I could use Easter egg dye and then put the flower petals. I just want a subtle color in the background. I can see that that has a piece that it didn't come off. Because my space on the table is getting smaller and smaller. I love this one. I love it. I love it. So if I want to try it again with just flowers and maybe some color on the paper, I'm going to have to do that pretty soon. Because there's not going to be flowers around for much longer. Oh, except for the daisies, and that's something else I want to put in this book. October 1st, the daisies are blooming. Everything else is going to die with the frost that's coming up. But the daisies are just blooming now. These are the late daisies. Perfect for the late pollinators. Some overwinter. So they need some energy before they go to bed. And some will die out. Some will actually overwinter in the cracks in the bark of a tree. It's amazing. Nature is amazing. Okay, I'm going to glue this. Reaching down to get my glue paper again. Keeps popping up though. Come on, I put two kinds of glues on there. Stay down. Look, I got glue all over here. I glue the tag down. Little glue stick in the middle. A little tacky glue around the edge, which is supposed to hold the corners down, but for some reason is not. this was fun. I love to experiment, especially with all natural things, nature things. Playing with nature. I love playing with nature. Okay, see, it's popping up already. And tomorrow, it's raining all day today, but tomorrow, oh, I got a bee. Could put a bee. I like that bee. Maybe I'll use that bee. Well, I don't want to use this dark one because of the dark background. Maybe I will use... this I cut out of my elderberry dyed paper. Let's see. Maybe these little yellow ones. Maybe I'll just put a bunch of these little yellow... Oops. Maybe I'll put a bunch of these little yellow ones on here. Let's see, how many do I have? Different colors. I'm going to put a whole bunch on. Going to put a whole bunch on. Yeah, it's always a lot of work. A lot of time, a lot of work. Well, it's not really work, you know what I mean. A lot of play. I think that's it. I think that's it. I got a Brazilian mason jars and tags there. They'll have to go in Happy Mail, I guess. Okay. So I need to try this again, maybe one more time. And I need to... Oh, one just fell on the floor. Journal about my daisies. Yes, the pumpkin is still out there. Knock on wood. I dropped one, I think. Where is it? Oh no, I dropped the cap to the glue. Bending down the opposite way. I'm not used to bending that way. Corners are popping up. Stay down. Stay down. Stay down. I'm going to leave it on the vine until it gets a little harder. And the daisies and the pumpkins are growing in the same patch. I'm going to draw stems, I think. Rainy weather makes me sleepy. How many people watched to the end of yesterday's video? It saw me yawning. Yeah, for some reason, low pressure systems make me sleepy. I think they make the animals sleepy too. When there's a storm coming and there's a low pressure system coming, a lot of animals like to sleep. I say the cows lay down when it's going to rain. Of course, they lay down at other times too, but you know what I mean. Cats like to sleep all day when it's raining. Oh, it's dark. The rain we're getting, I believe, is the outer bands of Ian. We're not getting much, though, because there's a big high-pressure system to our north who's pushing the most of the rain to our south, probably out by Long Island. Oops. I'm being very messy. That's okay. It's okay. It's a junk journal. Glue will dry. Okay, I'm going to put the bee over here. I'm going to draw on some stems. Yeah, that was busy 2 days. 2 days, 3 days. Picking, layering, and cooking. Boiling, well, cooking, I boiled water, right? Alright, so I'm going to go find a dark green pen. Well, my pens are all out because it's Inktober. And I will be doodling with ink. I got glue all over my fingers. And this is a dark green. So either I have to use a really dark green or a light green. This is a souffle. Let's see if these are still working. Haven't pulled these out in a while. Now this is a souffle, which means it gets lighter as it dries. And this is a Jelly Roll Metallic. It shows up in the light, but not so much. This is another Japanese, Twinkling Like Stars, water-based pigment ink. Twinkling Like Stars. Ooh, I like that. This is called At You Spica. At You Spica Melon, Twinkling Like the Stars. I had bought a bunch of pens at the flea market in Pennsylvania, so that was a few years ago. Ooh, now that one's pretty too. This one is Jelly Roll. These are Sakura Metallic. There you go. Which one do I want to use? I think I want to use that one. I think I'm going to use that one. All right, where did I put my book? Oh, on the floor. I was waiting for some of this glue to dry. If I do an update, I could probably put it in this pocket over here, maybe. Maybe. We'll see. Okay. What should I put in the middle? Should I go get some little jewels to put in the middle? Some green sparkly jewels. How am I going to do this? I have no idea. I want them to go up and in. Alright, so I got that one, that's that one. So this one needs one, and we'll just put it that way. And everybody's got a stem. It does twinkle like the stars. I don't know if I've ever used these for anything. And I gave him a couple leaves because it is twinkling like the stars. It's magical. So this is Inktober. Get out your inks, get out your pens, do a little doodle, do a little spraying, have some inky fun. That shows up more in the light. Of course, it's night and it's dark. What if I color the center instead of putting a jewel there? Because this is very sparkly. Ooh, look at that. I don't know if that one's staying down. have to get up and shine this in the light to see how it looks. There you go. I like it. I like it. I wanted it to be a little delicate. I don't want it to be too big. Okay, this mason jar die is from this Momento 10-piece. It's got flowers and a butterfly and a bee in the mason jar. Okay, and there she is. I wish you could see how sparkly this pen is. I love this pen. I bought it, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago at the flea market. I'm going to have to see if Amazon has it. If they have it, I'll link it below. I finished off this bee by putting, you know, the dot lines, and one more flower down here, and in 3 of the yellow flowers I put little green dots on their petals. It actually is embossed to have a dot on the tip of the petals, but I only did the yellow ones. I love it, especially this pen. Okay, and I just want to wish everybody happy junk journaling, happy nature journaling, happy eco-dyeing or experimenting. Thanks for coming along today. Bye-bye.